It's time for preview and prediction. South Carolina State versus South Carolina tomorrow night, Williams-Brice Stadium. We're fired up. We have a full episode. We're going to go over the keys to victory, what we want to see most, and give you a full preview and prediction and answer some of your questions as well on Locked On Gamecocks. It starts right now.
You are Locked On Gamecocks, your daily podcast on the South Carolina Gamecocks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, guys? Welcome into Locked On Gamecocks. I am your host, Chris Marler. I hope all of you are having a fantastic week. First and foremost, thank you to making Locked On Gamecocks your first listen each and every day. Shout out to our everydayers. Remember, we're a free and available podcast wherever you get your podcast, as well as on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode brought to you by our friends at Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. I want to apologize to start. One, someone's going to say it on the YouTube, and I know you will, and I appreciate keeping on my toes. Shirt's not on inside out. This is just the seams are raised. I don't know why, but I know we're very concerned about it last week, as you should be, because I'm a very forgetful person. Other news and notes. Want to say I'm sorry. Missed a couple shows this week. Have a family in town. They drove all the way from Lexington, South Carolina, down here to Baton Rouge to welcome us to our new home. It was a lot of fun, and they brought me some new hats, and it was great to see my mom and dad as well. Had a great week. I hope you had a great week as well. We're going to get into a preview show. I dropped the ball a little bit maybe with some of the shows this week, just because. Listen, family in town, and it's South Carolina State. I feel good with where we're at. We're going to pick it back up this week. That I can promise you. We'll have a live show tomorrow after the game. We'll do Sunday. We'll do a full week, and we will not missing days moving forward. Appreciate you guys so much. Let's get into today's show. South Carolina State comes to Williams-Brice. It's a sold-out crowd. Very fired up to see the crowd get back at Williams-Brice under the lights. Love the fact that it's a night game. If you're going, I'm sure you're loving the fact that it's a night game too, because it won't be 1,000 degrees. Also, side note, you might hear the fan in the background. It's 112 degrees today over here. At least it was in the car. We got in the car earlier in Baton Rouge. I'm sure it's not really 112, but it's hot as blank here. Anyway, great show. Great weekend coming up, and I'm really excited for it. I'm just going to hit you with some quick stuff that I want to see. We'll get into some nitty-gritty stuff and some stuff about South Carolina State for sure. But just some stuff that I want to see. From a selfish standpoint, that's where I want to start. I want to see 60. I want to see 60 points on the scoreboard. Like, it hasn't happened since 2022 in the famous or infamous, however you want to put it, South Carolina-Tennessee game, where you literally scored so many points, you ran them out of the building and ran out of fireworks on the way to doing so. I want to see 60 points. Last time you played this team, you won 50-10. The 60-point mark is something they haven't really topped many times. At least I don't think they've done it except for once in the Shane Beamer era. So I would love to see if the offense can be that explosive. It doesn't have to be. 40's fine. 50's great. But I do want to see how explosive this offense can be. How many times can we get in the end zone? We saw it last year against Akron. Even with Robbie Ashford starting, had a great game. I think it was a 50-7 game, I want to say. I want to see how many times this offense can cross the goal line and get into the end zone just for my own personal benefit and gain. I don't care how that sounds. I want to see how many times it can happen, okay? So that's number one. The other thing, just looking at some stuff that we need to shape up, and this is, again, I'm working from a selfish, me personally, what I want to see first. Then I'm going to get to the second part where I'm going to say, here are some things they really do need to get into. Maybe I should do it backwards. We've already started. I probably should have not done the selfish part first, but either way, I guess that is inherently selfish. Anyway, my bad, guys. So the other part, I do want to see the run game get a little bit more clear with who is going to be toting the rock as like I thought. I love the commitment to it early against Virginia Tech. It didn't really do as much as I was hoping for, right? And that's fine. That's fine. But hold on, we need to make sure we change this out. That's fine. But I also want to see against South Carolina State, they should not struggle. They should not struggle. I don't feel bad in saying this in terms of like the selfish part where it's like there are certain benchmarks that I want this offense to be able to hit and like points that I want them to be able to hit that are not important, but it would be nice to see. Like 60 points, 50 points would be like 40 points. I would be disappointed if they scored under that. Just to be 1,000% honest. Like I said, 50 is great. 60 would be awesome. Would love to see them rack up over 600 yards of offense. 500 is fine. But anything under 400 would be a concern if I'm being honest. I want to see them like what I don't want to see is something we saw against Old Dominion last year. And I understand these are two different programs. Old Dominion wasn't a bad team necessarily. They were coming off bowl games and all that kind of stuff. But and this is an FCS program. But what I also want to see from this team is, do we have that ability to go from week to week to keep the focus, keep your foot on the gas, pedal to the floor, that type of mentality where there are no let-ups, right? There are no let-ups. And that goes into partially what I'm saying, where like if you're able to score 60, if you're able to score 50, what that tells me is, yes, you are the better team by a great majority, which you should be. You're South Carolina. This is South Carolina State. That's not anything that's trying to be negative about South Carolina State, but it's like that's where it's not even just where the programs or the logo on the helmet type situation. It's where this program should be. You should be able to run an FCS program out of the building. And 35-3 is great. You saw Oklahoma beat Western Illinois last week, 35-3. You see it all the time. We've seen South Carolina do it. Run them out of the building. Run them out of the building. You don't have to run up the score. Run them out of the building. Make sure from start to finish, they want no part of going up against this team again, right? Like that's something I use this guy as an example all the time just because it was like closer to that program for a long time. Saban used to always say this, like I want to make sure that team they want no part of playing this team ever again, right? Whip them from start to finish. And again, that's not trying to be unsportsmanlike. That's not trying to run up the score when you don't have to. But physically, you should be able to run these people out of the building from jump. And that's, again, where I think this program is right now. This is not just a good South Carolina team that's going to win 7 or 8 games, right? It's not even a team that you want necessarily to only win 9 games. It's a team that's ranked in the top 10 in the country. It's a team that has maybe the best player in the country, period, on offense, and has maybe one of the best top 5, top 10 in the country on defense. And then budding stars all over the place. Run them out of the building. Leave no doubt. Make sure you do the things that South Carolina does so well, and you are consistent in those things. I brought this stat up a whole bunch over the past couple of years, the turnover battle, right? And I know there's like been a couple of like, yeah, of course, a turnover battle. Like it's the most obvious thing you can say. It is. Anytime the team who wins the turnover battle usually wins, right? South Carolina, we've seen a consistent track record of that under Beamer. Like, it's not just they win a majority of the time; it's an overwhelming majority of the time. It's almost 80%. You saw it against against Virginia Tech. They had they won plus. They were +2 in the turnover margin. They had none. Virginia Tech had 2. Right. I don't want this to be one of these anomalies where it's like, well, they lost the turnover battle, but they still won the game because it was South Carolina State. Do the things that have made this program great week in and week out. Focus on those things, continue to do those things. And that's how you continue to build the program, build this team, and build it from week to week where it's like, we know who should win this game. We know who should win this game. But this is about playing to the standard of South Carolina, not just playing to a standard of, hey, we won. We got the dub. That's what's most important. But playing to your standard is something that this program needs to, like, well, not needs to, like they don't already do it, but needs to continue doing if they are going to continue being a top 10 program, right? Like that's how you turn the corner even more. That's how you take the next step as a program. That's how you take the next step as a coach with Shane Beamer. Like, you continue to build on this thing because what you've done is unreal, right? In the quick turnaround and then just how much difference been. Things like this, games like this, the little things matter. Like the little things matter. Doing stuff the right way at practice with each rep, each game, even when you know you should win, that's what matters. All right, when we come back, we are going to talk about some of the other keys because I got on a bit of a soapbox there. I'll be honest. We'll talk about some of the keys to the game. Before we do, listen, the game is sold out, right? But if you have not already figured out a way to get a ticket, I'm sure there are still some available. And if you are looking for a ticket, do so with our friends at the Game Time app, man. I don't know how many times I can say it. College football is back, and I couldn't be more excited. The tailgates, the rivalries, oh, man, the energy in the stands, there's just nothing like it. But let's be real, actually getting tickets can feel like more of a battle than the game itself. Endless queues, hidden fees, prices jumping at checkout. All of it happens, and you've been there, and I've been there as well. That's why I use Game Time, the app that gives the advantage back to the fans. It's the easiest way to score last-minute tickets at the best prices with no surprise fees. What you see is what you pay. I pulled up Game Time, just a couple of taps. There's amazing deals. I'm talking about like your favorite locations. You can get shaded in the well, this will be a night game, but like if you want to sit in a spot in Willie B where it's like it's in the second half, it's at least going to be shaded, or you want to stay out of the sun, you want to be in the upper deck. One, you can do all that with Game Time. You can look at exactly what section you want to be in. And you can get a panoramic view of your seats before you ever step inside the stadium, okay? You can be over at the fairgrounds tailgating. You can do whatever you want to be doing before the game. Get your tickets, see exactly where you'll be before you ever step foot in Williams-Brice. Now, I tell you what, go take the guesswork out of buying college football tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply, but again, that's promo code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Game Time today. We'll be right back with more Locked On Gamecocks right after this. All right, let's get in the second part of the show. All right, there are some things I think that we should go over that I just want to see improved on this week, or just more of this week. Man, this probably falls into the selfish thing, but I want to see a little bit more clarity from the receiver standpoint, right? I want to see a little bit more separation, or at least involvement from some of the younger guys. And I love Nick Harbor breaking out. I love it. Like, we've all been waiting on this, right? By the way, Nick Harbor, fun fact, fastest, if you look at Real Analytics on Twitter, REEL, Real Analytics on Twitter, it's a great follow. They have all those things where they can track exactly how fast someone's going or whatever. The fastest player at any point of any game in the country this week was Nick Harbor on his huge touchdown from Sellers. I think he ended up over 22.6 miles an hour, something like that. Fastest of anybody in any game in the country this past weekend. I would love to see him continue to break out. Would love to see him have a game where he doesn't have a single drop, doesn't have if he has 7 targets, want to see 7 catches, right? And some of those targets, like they're not always the receiver's fault, but I want to see however many targets are thrown his way. I want to see that many receptions as well. The other part of it, I want to see more involvement from the receivers. I want to see something where last week I know it was like you had the running backs and the tight ends really heavily involved in the game, which is fine because I think that's what you're going to do for most of the year. We saw like the very first play. It was a the play we talk about the extension of the run game. You have a tight ends in an H-back situation on the left side of the line. You bring him under, kind of drag him out, and head a dump off pass to him, and it goes for 15, 20 yards on the first play of the game, right? I love that. But I also would love to see a situation where you look at last week with the receiving numbers, the 209 yards. Again, we had 2 drops, and they had the one play that was overturned because the ref was an idiot. Michael Smith, tight end, he had 1 catch for 7 yards. Maurice Brown, first play of the game, 1 catch, 14 yards. Okay. Brady Hunt, 4 catches, 45 yards. I love the tight end involvement. I want to be clear. Love the tight end involvement, right? Oscar Attaway, 2 catches for 23 yards, right? But if you have 12 total completions and 8 of them are going to running backs and tight ends with the receivers you've brought in, I need to see more receiver involvement just to feel better about what we have here. Because the talent's there, right? Donovan Murph is one of the guys we heard about all spring, 1 catch, 21 yards. Like, is Brian Rowe going to see the field? They should all be involved more. Jaden Sellers saw the field a decent amount, like in this game. I think they lined him up in the backfield at one point next to his brother. Like, I want to see all those things. I don't want to see them have to force anything in the offense. I want to see them run the offense they are going to run throughout the season. Do not sit here and try to force feed balls to freshman receivers just to do it. But we all know, or at least think and assume, that this is going to be a staple of this offense as the season goes on. I firmly believe that. And if it is, awesome. Let's make sure that we are getting, or we're seeing at the end of the game, even if it's just we're looking at box scores, hey, at least that guy had a target. At least that guy had a reception. Get him involved. Let's try to grow this thing, because the best way to get valuable experience is reps and experience. So, listen, we're about to get into the part of the season where already in September, you got some games coming up for South Carolina that are, I think we all agree, are winnable games. But your next 3 games are Vandy, Mizzou, and Kentucky. 2 of them at home, Mizzou on the road. Like, again, it's another reason why you want to have a win here, but it's also another reason why you want to make sure you're able to get the the receivers involved. Like, having these receivers involved early makes you feel better late in the season when it's like, okay, if it's 3rd and 4 and Harbor's covered because they got bracket coverage, the tight ends are covered, or we have to keep them into chip block or something like that, or to keep them into block for an extra person. Like, can I count on Brian Rowe? Can I count on Malik Clark? Can I count on these freshman receivers to go catch me a football and get us a first down, keep this drive going, either keep us in the game, put a game away, go score a touchdown? Because again, just as well as I did, we saw the Missouri game last year is the best example I can give. There were so many heroes in that game. Lenoris can be Superman. We don't want him to have to be Superman. And we all agree with that, I would think, right? We don't want him to have to be Superman. The other thing is this, and this is something that I remember our buddy Clark Brooks brought SEC StatCat out. He was the guy that talked like this into the mic or the screen the whole time. From On3, does a great job with like the analytics. Very high on Lenore Sellers. We talked to him in the offseason, I think in either late July or maybe it was early August, I think, because we were already here at the new house. The negative plays need to be fixed. So the big thing that he brought up was South Carolina being in like 14th place. I think last year they were 15th in the SEC in terms of negative plays. Over 10% of their offensive plays every year since Beamer has been there have been, oh boy, sorry, we got a work text. Over 10% of their plays every year have been for negative yardage. Over 10%. It's one of the highest in not just the SEC, but in the country. So I can't remember the numbers off the top of my head. I probably should have looked at them beforehand, but it was like, and 1 year they were around 14%. I don't think it was last year, but I know it's been over 10% every year since he's been here. Now, some of that should be corrected. Like, I want to see it corrected tomorrow. I feel like saying no negative plays at all is too much of a pipe dream. And I hate to say it like that, but it feels like it's too much of a pipe dream. Now, the other news is this. Collier's out. I think they expect him back for Vandy, which is huge because I was very surprised the way that they had him bandaged up, basically, the way he's been, right? Or way he came off the sideline with crutches on and stuff. So that's fine. Like get him back after a week. You might not even need him against Vandy. You might not even need him against Vandy. You want him back, but no need for him to play this week. That's great. Now, Shed Surratt being back after missing week 1, it's a projected starter. And this offensive line struggled against Virginia Tech. It struggled for the last however many years. It struggled against Virginia Tech. That's been the biggest thing that people have said, even with some of my sunshine pumping or saying how great I think the team looks, because they're able to overcome all that stuff, right? But the thing with this offensive line is they should be better than that, man. Like, everyone knows that. So if I'm Beamer this week, Tree is getting some snaps for one. But Ched is going in at left guard. And I'm seeing if we figure out if that helps Josiah Thompson for one, if that helps in the run game at all, if it changes up the continuity, if it's any better, if they gel better, because you need to get this thing figured out. It does not have to be figured out after this game. right? We've seen that before. There's plenty of times you're starting different combinations of linemen and stuff like that throughout the season. You want to also be able to play multiple linemen. It's a very physical and demanding position. So, like, you want to make sure that you're able to have several people that are available to go throughout the year. I think that is also something that only helps and is solved with playing Shed this entire game. Like, I get him as many reps as possible. I do. I get him as many reps as possible. I get him out there and see what this line looks like with him in it. Maybe shuffle up the line a little bit, first half, second half. I don't know. But that is offensively, yeah, I want to see Faison. I want to see Attaway run, right? I want to see those guys, average over 5 yards a carry against South Carolina State, against an FCS opponent. I want to see that. I want to see as many points scored as possible. I want to see the freshman receivers. But the thing that's most important, none of that is as important. The freshman receivers is the bottom of the priority list on those two things. I don't want to see 8 carries for 9 yards like we saw in the first quarter last week against Virginia Tech. The thing that's most important here is figuring out this offensive line, who is the best fit where, who are the best 5, who are the right 5, and how quickly can we get to that decision? Because you want to figure out a way to eliminate these negative plays. Even if you feel good about what happens against South Carolina State, there's still going to be some question marks and all that stuff, but still stuff to work through. But at least you see something in the positive direction, whether it's with Shed or not, which I think it will be, but whether it's with him or not, you want to see something moving in a positive direction. That's what I'm hoping for out of this game. Like, we're not even going to get into the no, we'll call it Colliers because of what happened in the first game. That's not a negative thing about him, but like, I don't want to see anybody on the sidelines in street clothes. Like, I'm hoping that we will figure out a way to get through this game clean, right? I'd love to see the penalties cleaned up a little bit while we're there, right? You only had 8 last week. I say only had 8. 8's a lot. You had 8, and you started the game in the first half with 7. Now, I think they had 7 for 46 in the first half. You finished the game with 8 for 51. That's a good adjustment, and we love to see a halftime adjustment. Need that to be cleaned up a little bit. Before we get in the SEC play next week, need that to be cleaned up a little bit, right? All right, we're going to go to a quick break. Got to pay the bills. Don't get mad. Got to pay the bills. When we come back, we're going to give you a score prediction, and I'll tell you what I think of what goes down on Saturday. Okay, but before we get to that, I want to talk to you guys about our friend at Upside, okay? Are you still paying full price for gas, by the way? Stop leaving money behind. Get real cash back every time you fill up with the free Upside app. Simply download the free Upside app in the App Store or Google Play right now and start earning cash at the pump today. Listen, use the limited promo code FOOTBALL, all one word, obviously, all capital letters, and get an extra 25 cents back per gallon on your first fill up. You could make up to $300 a year just from buying the gas you already needed. At first, I honestly thought it was too good to be true. It's totally legit. Totally legit. Real people are getting paid just to make their daily commutes, and you can too. Plus, you can cash out anytime to your bank account, PayPal, or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Don't let this offer drive on by. Download the free Upside app today and use it now using my limited promo code FOOTBALL. For a limited time, 25 cents per gallon bonus. That's promo code FOOTBALL. Offers vary by user and location, but go to upside.com for terms and conditions. We'll be right back with a preview and the final closeout for today's show for South Carolina and South Carolina State. Stay with us. All right. Let's just get into the prediction. It's not a big game. You want to be 2-0. You should be 2-0. You want to be 2-0. You should be 2-0. Very simple stuff. I personally think South Carolina doesn't get too flashy. I would love to see 60 points. I don't think we get there. But I think they are also too strong for this team. My prediction, the only thing I'll jump out on a limb here and say, I think the defense has another week where they keep this a team out of the end zone. Okay? So my final score prediction, I'm going to say it's going to be 48-3. Again, I know what I said. I would love to see 60. I would love to see over 50. but I think 48-3 sounds about right. I don't expect Beamer to run the score up on anybody. He's just too good of a person, I think. And also, like, you look at this game, local team coming into Williams-Brice, you're familiar with them. They haven't posed a real threat any other time you played them. Last time you played them was 50-10. They could easily get over the 50 mark, but I think this is a complete game from South Carolina. I'm going to say 40-3. I think the defense looks great. I can't wait to see some of the freshman receivers, like we said. Can't wait to see Luke Doty. I don't know if it'll be interesting, honestly, to see who comes in after that. Like, hopefully you see that person coming after that. And after we see Doty come in and get the much-deserved playing time, at quarterbacks and sees the backup, who comes in after that? Is it Cutter Woods? Is it Aaron Nolan? Is it both somehow if you get that many points up on the board? Can't wait to see all of it. Appreciate you guys. Hope you have a great rest of your Friday night, Saturday morning, whenever you're listening to this. If you're at a tailgate, be safe. Have fun, but be safe. I wish I was there. Should be a really good game. I'm pissed about the scheduling for this Saturday because everything's all on at once, but I cannot wait to watch this game. And we'll be back live. We should be back live that Saturday night with a full live recap as well. You guys have a great rest of your week, rest of your Friday and start your weekend. Appreciate y'all. Go Cox.